A unique person, you know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so when you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. Lockhart Perspective. Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day, yeah, everything you need to know, that you never knew, that you need to know, Lockhart Perspective. Well, hello, and good evening to everyone, and welcome to our show tonight. You know, it's a Friday, and you know how it is. Fridays and Saturdays, we just try to be a little laid back and just talk about a couple of topics that interest all of us. And I think right now, this is a really timely topic because we're going to cover a wide array of things under the same umbrella, right? We are talking about the no rules for the asylum seekers and how we feel, some, not all, feel that sometimes, you know what, it's best to just stick with the laws that you have instead of trying to just build new stuff and trying to make everybody happy and trying to appease folks. I don't really know what's going on in our country anymore, but I do know that this is a topic that is a hotbed topic. Everybody and their mama is talking about it. So we're going to look at a story that we covered a couple of years ago. And I'm doing the contrast and comparison. So just be patient with me. We're going to show a couple of old clips. We're going to show some news articles. And of course, because of the fact that we are using these for commentary purposes, and we are also using them for, you know, as a loose term here in this world, an entertainment purpose, these things do not belong to me. The only work that does belong to me are the things that I've got that are tabs up here that you can obviously tell it's me narrating. But for the most part, we're going to look tonight at the migrant situation and the asylum seekers who were just recently released in New York after committing a heinous crime against the police officers there, and then their swift release. But this is not the first time that this has happened here in the United States. We've had this happen on a couple of different occasions. One of the stories that we're looking at tonight come out of Tulare County. I think it is Tulare County, California. And if that's not the correct name of the county, they'll tell you. So what I'm going to do right now is just go ahead and pull that up for you. And I will be on the screen with you so that we can all look at it together, talk about it together, and try to figure out what's going on. Here is the story right here.
$750,000 worth of fentanyl pills failed. Two men accused of trafficking $750,000 worth of fentanyl pills failed to appear in court today. They were released just 18 hours after their arrest on Friday night. Tulare County Sheriff and District Attorney say they were never told about this release, and now they are demanding answers and changes.
How does something like this happen without the top two law enforcement officers of the county not even knowing?
And that's incredibly frustrating for someone who's responsible for public safety.
Tulare County Sheriff's detectives arrested 25-year-old Jose Sendejas and 19-year-old Benito Madrigal Friday night. They say the two men were in the process of taking a load of 150,000 fentanyl pills from Mexico through California and into Washington state, drugs with the potential to kill millions. But in a matter of 18 hours, the two men were released. Tulare County District Attorney Tim Ward and Sheriff Mike Boudreau didn't find out until Monday.
We weren't a part of this decision. We didn't consent to it. I certainly don't agree with it from the outside looking in, But like you, I think we're entitled to know what happened and why.
We need criminal justice reform. We need this process examined. We have people that are being released on a daily basis.
Warden Boudreaux said the men were allowed to leave because of this public safety assessment carried out Saturday by probation. These assessments help counties decide whether those arrested should remain behind bars or released into the public until charges are resolved. An algorithm looks at criminal history and other factors to make so-called risk predictions on whether a person is likely to be rearrested or if they'll miss their court date. Boudreaux says both were no-shows in court Tuesday.
Well, no, you're not going to have a prior criminal record because you are not from this country. You're not going to have any criminal record. Secondly, there's no risk of violence. Well, how do you know there's no risk of violence? You don't know these people.
I think what this situation is highlighting is a non-transparent, non-engaged decision is made without the stakeholders being involved.
If this were another crime, Ward says the accuser would have been notified.
I would certainly say that the law enforcement officers are considered victims or should be considered victims. They should have a right to be heard in that process.
Boudreaux says this is the result of California's soft on crime laws and hopes this gets the attention of Governor Newsom and beyond.
We need a secure border. We need a secure border. And it's not because of any type of undocumented immigration. It's because the safety of our communities relies on us being able to protect those who live here. And with the open flow of guns and drugs across our border, it's far more difficult for us as law enforcement to provide a community that safety that's so deserved.
We did reach out to Tulare County Probation for comment, but did not hear back. Sheriff Boudreaux tells me that as of this afternoon, he hadn't heard back either. He says what's really frustrating here is that he is now going to have detectives looking for those men. And DA Ward tells me that his office is already talking with the U.S. Attorney's Office to find out who would have jurisdiction over this case, because sometimes the feds can seek a tougher punishment.
So we see that as a isolated issue, but it is not isolated at all. This is a circumstance and a situation that's happened across the United States, albeit we don't have time to go through each and every one of those occurrences. This is just to juxtapose what happened here in Tulare County there on this screen to what we're about to see that took place just over the weekend with those folks out there in New York. I have no words. Let me just go on ahead and share it with you now so that you can see it for yourself.
6 men have been charged in connection to that brutal attack caught on camera, and the NYPD is still looking for more suspects. Let's get right to Fox 5's Kendall Green live in Times Square with the latest. Kendall?
Hi, good evening, Steve and Natasha. This has become a pretty complex legal process in just a matter of days. Now there's a fear looming that the men involved with that attack could avoid being brought to justice. 2 of a dozen migrants accused in a vicious Midtown attack over the weekend appeared in court Thursday and stepped with droves of NYPD officers in a show of support for 2 of their own, pummeled on camera Saturday evening. The duo were the 6th and 7th arrest made Wednesday, but only 24-year-old Yohenry Brito was charged with robbery and felony assault in the attack.
So look at this guy right here, his smug look on his face. The other guy decides he's going to cover his. These are militarized aged men that are here in the United States. And they are, for whatever reason, finding it necessary to beat up the cops when they come up on them. And this is not the first time. This is not the first time. This is not the first time these people, I'm not speaking of them specifically, I'm just saying this is not the first time that you have heard of or that we have heard of these types of circumstances happening here in the States. I think that it's unfortunate, but I don't see it ending anytime soon. As a matter of fact, I think it just might get worse. But let's continue to listen to this. Is not from the Lockhart Perspective or Headlines with a Voice. We're using this copywritten material specifically for editorial. It does not belong to me. We are using it for editorial and conversation as well as commentary, as it is written under the law.
Concerning 21-year-old Yandri Badros, District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office declined to prosecute, citing a lack of evidence to prove his involvement.
We have to ask the question,
This man is impassioned, and I want us to hear what he has to say. But my question is, what is the lack of evidence? Is it that you didn't see their faces? Then if you didn't see their faces, how did you arrest them? What lack of evidence is it that you need? I don't get that. And somebody in the chat explain that to me, because I may be misunderstanding it. Do me a favor. If you get it, hit the like button. If you don't get it, hit the like button. If you want to like it or leave it, do whatever, but do me a favor and hit the like button. But tell me, what does that mean? He didn't have enough evidence. Am I mishearing that? If you didn't have the evidence, then how did you arrest them? Am I wrong in this? Or am I not getting? It's something I feel like I'm not getting. But let's just go ahead and continue. This is Patrick Hendry, and let's listen to what he has to say.
Why did these 4 individuals be released on their own recognizance?
Wednesday's arrest followed 4 migrants also arrested and charged in the assault Saturday, and 1 later Monday. Yet all were released but 1, who was under a supervised release. The calls for justice in the attack just keep coming in, including this one by the PBA president just outside of the courtroom Wednesday morning.
They brutally attacked a New York City police officer and a lieutenant. Our criminal justice system is upside down. It fails every day.
Governor Hochul behind the podium hinted deportation should be looked at for the migrants involved in the attack before saying it plainly and clearly.
Get them all and send them back. You don't touch our police officers. You don't touch anybody.
Republican Staten Island Congressman Nicole Malliotakis blaming politics.
Democratic policies at City Hall have made this much more difficult for our law enforcement than it needs to be.
But the road to capturing and convicting all of the attackers involved is getting rocky, as some have reportedly already fled the city.
And the problem that ICE has is that because the NYPD is prohibited from sharing information, and the city is denying any detainer request, it makes it very difficult.
While officials in Mayor Adams' administrations argue joint local and federal pursuit of the accused shouldn't be that tall of a hurdle.
If the federal authorities are able to get a warrant for the arrest of these individuals, we are allowed to work with them and participate with that.
Meantime, Assistant Commissioner Cass Daughtry posted this video to X with a warning to the suspects.
We will scour the globe to find you if you commit any type of assault on one of our police officers.
That's where I've got to stop it, because, you know, this is part true stuff and this is part sensationalized stuff. You're not scouring anywhere. You're not looking for anybody. Kathy Hochul is not going to go out and have anybody deported. Stop it. Knock it off. Knock it off. You already know you're not going to do anything. As a matter of fact, what you've done already is all you're going to do. You're not going to do any more. The same way that the police department there was told to stand down by way of that document that came from somebody up high is the same way you guys are going to stand down, because it's coming from somebody up high. So you don't have the opportunity to say that. Now, let's get on over here to another story. I do want to juxtapose a couple of things. They beat those police officers up without question. Without a question, without a shadow of a doubt, that was an attack. But they were sure dressed pretty sharp, weren't they? They were dressed pretty sharp. There's a lot of money coming over here with a lot of these individuals. I wanted to talk about two words that I saw in the last 2 pieces. One where the gentleman said that we really do need reform. We need this, we need this law, we need this and that. We need the reform. We already have enough laws on the books to protect the citizenry and to protect the police while they're doing their job. We have enough laws on the books. Now, have you noticed the difference between what happened there in New York with the police all on the ground trying to stop these people and all of that, and then the other instances where we have people just minding their own business, sitting on a park bench or whatever, and they're just getting accosted by police, and the next thing you know, the police got them all down the ground, beat them up or nothing? We're going to look at a story like that because I need to show the juxtaposition. I need to show you how our citizens are treated, American citizens, in comparison to what we're seeing. I don't even know if I want to show this in its entirety. I will probably block it out as far as the sound is concerned, because it is disturbing. But it happened a couple of months ago in North Carolina, and some of you may already be well aware of the story. Let me go over here and clear this piece out for you so that I can let you see it. All right. It's really shocking. It's actually quite disturbing, but here we go. These are the police videos of an officer striking a woman and pinning her down. Now, here's the video. I'm gonna let you hear it if they don't play any music.
What's up, guys? I'm just hanging out. Just got off of work. Huh? Just got off of work. What did we do wrong? Oh, it smells like you're smoking weed. Well, this is stuff from the store. It's not in the store. It's THCA. Are you smoking weed? You guys smoking weed? It's coming from the store. It's from the smoke I can smell it coming from that. So. You got it from the smoke shop. Okay, well, go ahead. There. Hand on back. Whoa, whoa, whoa! What are you doing? Get off. What are you doing? What is he? What are you?
So now the first thing that somebody will say is, why did they automatically get up and start jumping around? This has to be a fake story, whether it's fake or not, or whether we agree with her jumping up or not, or whether we get it. This lady gets the garbage beat out of her because they were sitting there at the bus stop, just got off work, she did. Job was right behind her. Could be something, you know, the way that I look at things, and I'll start looking at cryptic things, and I don't want to go there right now, but if I had to, I would look at the shirt, I would look at the company behind her, I'd look at the fact that BO was on that shirt, the whole word Bojangles is there, and then I'd see BOJ on this yellow and red. I would start to pick this piece apart. Then I would call it a psyop, because that's just how I factor things. But that's not what I want to look at tonight. What I want to look at is the fact that we just got through seeing police officers get beat up when they were trying to accost somebody. Here, these are citizens who are getting beat up, only for them to be released later when they find out that it was something that they bought from the smoke shop that smells like weed, because according to them, and because of what I've been able to see, it has some THC in it, I think. THC? CBD. CBD. And you can smell it because it's a derivative of the, let me just hurry up, but it's very disturbing. So let's go ahead and finish. I don't know if I can listen to all of it. I'm gonna let you see it, but I don't know if I can listen to all of it because it is really overthetop.com. So let me mute it, but we can see it. So you can see the play-by-play. They're going back and forth. They're talking to the young man sitting there on the bench while this gentleman is pulling her to the side. And what she is saying to him is, leave me alone. Take your hands off of me. Take your hands off of me. You know, what did I do? I haven't done anything. So you might not respond like this, and I might not respond like this, but it goes without saying she did. Now watch the man that keeps punching her in the leg. She's subdued. This guy has his hand between her thighs, and he's jamming her with his knee multiple times. Multiple times. We're watching it together, and we have to watch it together because in order for us to understand that there is something seriously wrong here, we have to watch it. Now watch him continue. She's already subdued. He's telling her, put your hands behind your back. Well, your partners have her hands behind the back. Again, it says the man was charged with carrying a concealed weapon and the woman was charged with assault on a government official. Both were also charged with assault on a government official. And both were charged with resisting arrest and possession of marijuana, and all charges were later dropped because that's what they originally arrested them with. Okay, that was the original charges. You know, I have a problem with how everything has been made to be for such a long time, because now we're coming to a turn. We're coming to a curve. Everything has been made to be black and white, or black or white, or right or left, or green or yellow, or, you know, or blue or red, or Republican or Democrat, when this is just really an American story. It's an American tragedy that we can see that there are laws for other people that come in our country illegally. And there are scores of people who are on the list to become American citizens. We've not even addressed that. And then there are individuals who are citizens who are treated another way. Now, here's the thing. For everybody who wants to divide it based on color, everybody's just the same now. Because it's not just these folks that are being done, or those people, or you people, or it's us. Collectively, it's us. Okay, so now we've looked at those stories and we all have comments about it. We can all say something about it. We all know that it's not right for those two people to later be released because they didn't ask the appropriate questions in the first place. Now, you and I both know that if there's a smoke shop someplace and that is legal in that state, they both said there's a smoke shop right across the street. But what was the reason for stopping them in the first place? Yeah, she could have been calm. She could have chilled. She could have. She didn't. Because she used words in the very beginning. What are you doing? Why are you arresting him? Hey, stop. There's a problem here, and it's going to get worse before it gets better here in this country. I keep saying there's a dog whistle, a high-pitched whistle that's going to take off, and all these people who are so brazen, who are telling us, you don't know who I am, but you will know who I am, while they're talking to them, and you find out later, thanks to Betty R. and a few other people. Betty R., I'm not sure if she's here, but she's got a video on her Instagram. That's Betty _ I think it's Ramos on Instagram. And you can go over there and you can see it. And there's a man who was telling people originally, you don't know who I am. You don't know who I am, but you will know who I am. And then Betty's got it on her page. This guy is a big wig in the crooked department overseas. Big guy. Big wig. Bad guy. People are here by design. And because they're here by design, there's a plan. And I think every day we're looking at how we're being treated. But what we don't realize is because of some of the laws that we're going to look at, they're getting preferential treatment. And it's not just our laws. We're going to look at right now the homelessness. And then I want to show you something else as it relates to the homelessness. Because homelessness is bad. And homelessness is something that we're suffering with here in the United States. As a whole, we're suffering. Every state that you go to right now, you can see that there's a problem. Here are some individuals that live in Portland, Maine, just so that you know. I want you guys to look at this, and I want you to tell me what you think. Good old US of A. This is the homelessness in Maine. And, you know, years ago, you would have never imagined that. You would have never imagined it.
A homeless encampment is taken down in Portland, this time by the Maine Department of Transportation. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Marissa Bodner.
And I'm Stephanie Grinley. Maine DOT officials say they ordered the removal of the camp off 295 on the edge of Deering Oaks Park for safety reasons.
CBS 13's Brad Rogers is live in Deering Oaks, where more than 100 homeless campers were forced to find a new place for their tents.
Yeah, Brad, where will they go? And they're running out of options.
Well, Steph, right now there's only one place they can go, and that is this encampment at the state-owned Park and Ride on Marginal Way. Now, even then, though, it's only a matter of time before these campers are told they have to leave.
And right now it's kind of a hectic situation right now because like not a lot of people like have rides to go anywhere or even like
anywhere to go.
Yeah, like there's almost like no place to go now.
A few days ago, these campers say Maine DOT told them they had to move some tents away from this 295 off-ramp because it wasn't safe. Yesterday, they told them they had to be out by 8 this morning. That's when DOT crews and police showed up and campers started packing their tents and belongings. Corey Blake says he and his brother are tired of being forced out.
I just want to cry sometimes, you know? I mean,
why is that?
because these guys just keep telling us what we can do and what we can't do.
Maine DOT says the location of this encampment posed an immediate risk to the safety of unhoused people and the traveling public.
Why can't they just leave us alone? We're not hurting them. You know, they say, oh, a car can come up the up ramp and hit us. Oh, be it. Let it be it. If it hits me, it hits me. If it don't, it don't. If they're so concerned about us sleeping outside, why can't they put us up?
There's no options. These people are just shuffled from spot to spot to spot to spot with no solution. And as a country, we need to be doing better. I mean, this is ridiculous.
The city says there is space now for single people experiencing homelessness at the Homeless Services Center.
And we have offered more than 130 beds at the Homeless Services Center to people who are camping there.
We wanted to go to a shelter, a family shelter, because I'm pregnant. And they told us these shelters are full. There's no room and there's no housing right now. So there's literally nowhere for us to go.
The city's family shelters are full. Several campers say the city should reserve an area for camping, but the city has told us that's not possible because camping is against the law in Portland.
They don't want to help. They want to get rid of us. And it's all about their reputation. Well, I honestly think that the reputation doesn't matter.
Now, next week, the city plans to remove the large homeless encampment off the Four River Parkway. New at 6, why a number of homeless people believe asylum seekers are getting better treatment than them, and the city's response. We're live in Portland. Brad Rogers, CBS 13 News. Steph?
Brad?
Okay, so at the close of that story, this gentleman said that he has spoken to people and they believe that some of the asylum seekers are getting better treatment than that of the American citizens. And so he was mentioning that. So let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that. Here's a story of a lovely lady. Here's a story. I couldn't resist. So I want you to look at this. And we're going to read through this. These are some of the asylum seekers here. Okay, this is a family. Some more people back there. All right. Central Maine is, let's go all the way back to the top. This was dated January 12, 2024. And apparently some people on social media got a hold of the story, and this beginning says that social media users have reacted angrily to revelations that a town in Democrat-run Maine is lavishing millions of dollars on luxury apartments for asylum seekers. The reason why I don't like, and sometimes you will see when I'm narrating a story on Headlines with a Voice, you'll notice that I'll pull out that term, Democrat-run or Republican-run. It may come out sometimes because of the way the person has written it, but the reason why I don't like to say it is because it doesn't matter who's running the town. Because if you notice, this stuff is easing its way into even the red states. It's easing. It may not be there 110%, but I want to let you know that it's coming and it's easing. So sometimes I don't like putting that because this is America. It's not the Democrat. It's not the Republican. This is us. This is what our country is doing. And so that's why oftentimes I don't say it. Well, let's go down to the second one. Immigrants this week are starting to move into 24 1- and 2-bedroom apartments in an attractive, recently finished 3-story clapboard block on the edge of the leafy coastal town of Brunswick, about 30 miles north of Portland. State officials said they were welcoming in hard-up newcomers, and one of the migrants to win a home said that the place was like a palace compared to the shelters and the hotels that she had been sleeping in. This is a woman that is from Nigeria. This the young lady is from Nigeria that made this comment. It says, but commentators quickly slammed the decision to spend a reported $3.5 million on 60 migrant families when so many others struggle to pay rents or have to sleep rough in one of America's chilliest states. So this is the beautiful area here. They have taken, let me make sure that my audio is up. Yeah, they have taken this area and they've converted it. It was military and they've converted it. There's a company that came in and did its thing and helped them get this, you know, up and running. And so this is what we've got. All right. It says fortunate migrants are allocated homes in an attractive, recently finished 3-story clapboard block on the edge of the leafy coastal town of Brunswick. Wouldn't you love to live in Brunswick where you could have your hot chocolate right there by the water and the coldness, and you just snuggle up with that wonderful, wonderful loved one, or that cute little cuddly furry pet, or a nice warm book by your fireplace? Central Maine is set to see snowfall, rain, and temperatures in the 20s in the coming days as officials tear down encampments of homeless people in and around Portland. So without further ado, let me give you the news story on this. Far be it from me to continue to read when we can hear it out of their own mouth. Okay, let's go.
Initially meant just for this population.
And even more units will be open soon just around the
corner.
corner.
Give it to the beginning. Come on.
Seekers are moving into new apartments initially meant just for this population.
And even more units will be open soon just around the corner. CBS 13's Mal Meyer is in Brunswick with why this is so needed.
These apartments have been in high demand long before they even opened. While they were still being developed last year, the wait list had to be capped at 250 applicants.
It's just an exciting, busy time.
Deb Crocker has been meeting with asylum seekers that until now were homeless.
A lot of them have been either in shelters or in hotels for the last year, year and a half or so, some less, some more.
The project's developer says a dozen one-bedroom and a dozen two-bedroom units are complete so far.
It's an adjustment for them.
Rent will be paid for the first 2 years using state funds approved by the legislature. Once tenants can start working, they need to pay 30% of their income to rent.
They have questions.
They're going to get free rent for 2 years. Let that sink in. In Maine. Maine is cold. I was in Bangor for a quick hot minute, and it's freezing. But these individuals have been moved all around the United States and pushed into the interior of the U.S. They're getting free rent for 2 years. Please pay attention to that. Not only are they getting free rent for 2 years, listen to the next piece. They're also getting a bus line that goes through there that'll shuttle them wherever they've got to go. Wherever they've got to go, to the grocery store, if they got to go to the doctors, if they got an interview. Hey, let me tell y'all something. If you have a need, let me get real close to you right quick because I'll come back to this right fast. If you have a need, you better go down there and get you some help. If you have need of food stamps, you better go down there and get your food stamps. Don't you worry about what nobody in your neighborhood or family tells you. If you meet the qualifications and you sit up here hungry, you better go down there and get you some stamps. If you need housing, you better go down there and get you some housing. If they got HUD in your neighborhood and there's some places over there that you can rent and you can't afford it no more, baby, don't you worry. You better take your tail down there and get whatever you need. Do not have this mindset anymore of, well, no, I believe I'm just going to keep working. Hey, that's fine too. Do what you do, boo-boo. But if you know that you can't afford it right now, after seeing this story right here, you better get your rump someplace and get you some help. And if you got to keep your business to yourself, keep your business to yourself. But if you know you're not making enough and you got family and you don't have enough food, you better go down there, quit trying to pull a piece of this to go to that and stretch this over here. Get your rump down there and apply. Go online and apply. And you better do it quick. And I do mean quick. Do not allow anything that you have heard in the past to prevent you from getting your family what you all need, because this right here is criminal if you ask me. Let's continue.
Questions of, what's in the community, can be offered to them.
Volunteers are also eager to help. The United Way of Midcoast Maine is working to organize their efforts.
We had a kitchen donation drive where individuals dropped off
Look how happy.
incredible heirlooms and brand new dishware.
And the organization is planning on launching a volunteer bus ambassador program on the Brunswick Link to ensure everyone gets where they need to go.
It could be running to the grocery store or getting to doctor's appointments or getting those incredibly important job interviews.
More assistance will be needed. 3 more buildings are expected to be completed in the coming weeks.
We truly hope that everyone in the community will raise their hand to help however they can.
We have more information on how to sign up on our website, WGME.com. In Brunswick, Millmire, CBS 13 News.
Meanwhile, Americans are sitting up there talking about, we don't know why they won't let us stay. All we want to do is just stay over here. We don't know why they won't let us stay. They keep tearing down the encampment. They keep moving it. You just saw the story. They keep moving it. They keep tearing us down and moving us to another place. They won't let us in. We don't have any housing. This is not going on just here. This is going on literally everywhere. It's going on abroad and it's going on throughout the United States. There are NGOs, non-governmental organizations, that are funneling money into this. Non-governmental organizations that are shoving money into this. And we are allowing it. As a country, we're allowing it. We've no clue where these individuals are getting the money from. We don't have an idea at all. We've no idea whatsoever where it's coming from. We don't know all of the organizations. Listen, there's also a company that actually built those places for them. Let me give you the name. Anybody who sponsors the show tonight with either a Cash App at $Felicia, or I should say the Lockhart Perspective, or if you even give a super chat, you will be one of the sponsors of the show. Give you a shout out and thank you very much for donating. We had somebody who gave money earlier in the other show today. I can't say her name because she doesn't like her name said, but I want to say thank you to her. She knows who she is, and I appreciate you for the support that you give to the channel. So let me go ahead and pull this back up for you, because I want to read to you the name of the organization. You might know this organization. It was an organization that actually built these houses for them. They built the towers, because you remember what I said, it used to be military housing. And so they went through there and they fixed something up. And this organization or this company went through and fixed it up. Nice. I think it's nice. But I think it would have been even nicer if we had taken care of our own first. I think that's so very important that we learn to take care of our own people first. And that's not what we do anymore. Not to mention the fact that if you give everybody something really nice and cushy and you take really good care of them, the chances of them doing what you want them to do later are greater. So let's see. I want you guys to see the name of the company because it was listed here. I'm going to go down a little bit into there, and maybe you guys have heard of it. And if you have, you can tell me what you know about the company. Okay. Let's see. Let's just read a little bit of this. What a slap in the face of all Maine residents and all American citizens. In fact, especially the homeless, is what somebody put on Twitter about this story. Another noted how Maine residents' taxes are now being used to pay the rent for illegal aliens. Yeah, they are. And they also get 100% of their medical care and everything else in California now, courtesy of the taxpayer. So if y'all out there living in California and you haven't left yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. But yeah, they're testing the water out there, by the way. They're testing the water coming in and out Northern California. They checking for you. All right. They checking for a Katrina. So y'all can sit around there at the coast if you want to, but they checking for you. I'm gonna leave that right there. Others complained that migrants were being put ahead of citizens by getting as much as 2-year stints, living free in a nice new building. Others still suggest that Maine residents should quit paying taxes or voting for the Democratic politicians who greenlighted the scheme. Maine has seen a surge in its number of homeless residents since 2021 and currently has more than 4,000 unhoused people. mostly in and around Portland. A little over 3,000 of them sleep in shelters. Residents also pay some of the highest taxes in America. Maine has the costliest property levies in the nation. And only residents of New York and Hawaii pay more tax on the dollar overall. That's according to Wallet Hub. State officials greenlighted the project amid a surge of migrants crossing the U.S.-Mexico border and making claims for asylum. Now, why is it that everybody is an asylum seeker? Why? An asylum seeker, to gain asylum, the protection granted by a nation to someone who has left their native country as a political refugee. Asylum, dated, an institution offering shelter and support for people who are mentally ill. He'd been committed to an asylum. Well, the lunatics are taking over the asylum here in the United States, it would seem. And right now, the former is our problem. We are loosely using terms like migrant instead of illegal alien, like asylum instead of illegal alien. We're doing a lot of stuff that's harming us because we are normalizing some of the words that they're giving us to use for individuals. And I want to speak to us because I've heard a lot of Black people. And you know, I don't like using that term because I'm not Black, but nonetheless, I'm going to use it again. I've heard a lot of people say, well, you know what? Don't start blaming the migrants. Don't start doing that. But I'm not blaming anybody but our country for allowing it. This illegal invasion of our borders. This is an illegal invasion. And this is happening right under our noses. We don't have any power to do anything physically. It's not like we can get up and go up and make somebody stop it. But by the same token, we have to agree that what we see going on is not right, especially if the average Joe Blow on the streets could not have it done. Here is some statistics. An asylum seeker is a person who leaves their country of residence, enters another country, and applies for asylum in that country. Let's see how many have come here. Total population, 2.9 million. Regions with significant populations. Venezuela, Afghanistan, Cuba, Nicaragua, Ukraine, Syria, Colombia, Honduras, Haiti, and Turkey. I hear a lot of Black people saying that we should not be upset about what's going on in America. And yet they're coming into all communities, but mostly ours, because they can blend in well. I don't know whether you guys know it, but you know, a lot of people are thinking that the immigrants that are here are all Hispanic and of Hispanic origin, but they're not. You've got some from Somalia, you've got some from Haiti, you've got some from different parts of the world. Now, there's a place you don't have any here. They've been trafficked, so they didn't let them come here. And that was Muammar Gaddafi's citizens after his assassination. They didn't allow them here because we actually have something in our law that they penciled in with a pen that primarily said that if anybody has stood against the West coming in to help, and I'm using this I'm paraphrasing here, that those individuals, the citizens, could not be allowed. So those people were trafficked. They weren't even allowed here. They weren't even allowed here. But the people that are coming for a very specific reason. It's a specific reason and a specific purpose. So that in and of itself is quite concerning. Concerns me, should concern you, should concern all of us. But that's what's happening. That's what's happening, Jack. That's what's happening. And we don't have anybody, hey, Shaq, we don't have anyone that is really doing something to stop it. There's another situation that we're not going to talk about tonight, but I want you guys to look out for it when I put up the thumbnail and I put up the live notice. And it's how everybody was screaming about the new screening that's taking place. The WEF is talking about it and said, oh, this is such a terrible thing. It could be coming here in the United States. It was actually a law that was actually passed by a woman here in the United States that had a whole lot to do with that. And I'm talking about the health aspect of it, being able to handle you, as it were. I know that it's bad out west in New Mexico. I know that it's bad, and I know that there's a lot of stuff going on. You notice I have not talked about the truckers. I'm not going to talk about them truckers because I don't even know how real that is. I don't know what truckers have that kind of time or gas or money to do this. It's a lot of money, a lot of fuel. So I think there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen with that, and it ain't going to look cute. It's going to make the other stuff that happened on the, what is that, back in January 6th, 21. It's going to make that look like a circus, which it is. So these are the things that are going on right now. These are the issues that we're having. We're having people get beautiful new homes in areas that would not otherwise have had the availability of space to do that. The name of the company that was used, it should be here. Here, let me show this to you here. The migrants started being housed in the first 24 apartments this week, and the dozens more of the units are expected to be completed in the coming weeks. Competition for the apartments was fierce, and the application list was capped at 250. Esther is an asylum seeker from Nigeria who was awarded a home and said that she felt like it was like a palace compared to her previous digs. In a hotel, she says, there are rules and there are regulations. This is what she told the local reporters. And she continued with, in a shelter too, we have so many people. We share a kitchen and we share a restroom together. That's what she said. Again, you need to understand. Does anybody remember what was going on when they had the United Nations troops going into different states to sort of balance stuff out and sort of keep the peace? Do you remember what they were doing? Have you heard anything about that group of people anymore? Traveling around, going into different areas, doing all kinds of stuff. Have you heard about them recently? And put in one in the chat if you have. Put a 2 if you haven't. I bet I'll see more 2s than not. These people are those people. I venture to say it. I could be wrong. But those people look exactly like them to me. Does anybody else notice that? Okay, Joy. All right. So now it goes on to say that Maine State Housing Authority budgeted nearly $3.5 million to cover the rents for 60 migrant families in 5 buildings in Brunswick for 2 years. They are expected to eventually get permission to work and start earning their own way. Now, funny thing is they're showing the American encampments. Let's go on. This says one of the beneficiaries of the scheme said that her new home felt like a palace compared to her previous digs. This is the woman here, right here. The state is also allocating $100,000 to help dozens of Brunswick migrants process their asylum applications and secure work permits. A bus service is in the works for help for the migrants so that they can get in and out of town. And America's southern border has seen ever greater numbers of migrants crossing the frontier and ask for asylum since Biden took office in 2021. There were more than 10,000 arrests for illegal crossings per day over several days in December alone. Let me read that again. There were more than 10,000 arrests for illegal crossings per day over several days in December alone. The trend is fueled by ever more people fleeing political chaos in Cuba. What happened to the dry foot, wet foot, dry foot, dry foot, wet foot? What happened to that? I didn't know Cuba Oh, so we done just come on, Cuba. Okay, Cuba. Haiti, they sent a lot of them back, but you know what they didn't do? They didn't tell you that they sent a whole lot of them to New Orleans. Right down there with some of my people. They in New Orleans, the Haitians, busloads of them. They also mentioned Nicaragua and Venezuela. Though many traverse the frontier at an irregular spot, asylum claims are a legal process. See, if you say it's coming in for asylum, then it's legal. You're not illegal. You're coming here for help, and we're going to help you. That's what they're saying. Many are allowed into the country for a year's long wait, as officials assess claims that they had suffered serious human rights violations elsewhere. So where can we go? You mean what we're experiencing? Can we go someplace? Well, what we're experiencing does not warrant asylum. Every time I go outside, it's a beautiful sky. An hour later, there's a whole bunch of stuff in it. I can't go nowhere. Situation at the U.S.-Mexico border. A crisis, 45%. Very serious, 30%. Somewhat serious, 18%. Not much of a problem, 7%. Situation at the U.S.-Mexico border is 45% says a crisis. 30% says it's very serious. 18% says somewhat serious. 7% says, not much of a problem. Fully 93% of Americans say the southern border is either a crisis or some type of serious problems. In cities including Chicago, New York, and Denver, migrants who have no access to work permits sleep in police stations, foyers, and in airports. Though they can be unpopular in some quarters, studies have shown that asylum seekers and migrants are more entrepreneurial and hardworking than U.S.-born populations. You see that? The scenes dominate the early phase of the 2024 presidential election campaign, with Republicans slamming President Joe Biden and weighing whether to impeach his Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. But you know what? Again, I'm not gonna apologize for bringing up the obvious. Had this been Mr. Naranga, Mr. Orange Man, his behind would have been out of there. He would have been out of there. Had it been Mr. Naranga doing this, letting the borders be wide open, child, they would have already impeached him. So we're talking about impeachment of Alejandro Mayorkas and not Biden. Why? Well, because you got a lot of people up there that's just talking. A lot of those Republicans that are up there, they do nothing but run their mouths. It says Republicans want Biden to back more restrictive policies that would dramatically reduce asylum protections, among other things. And they believe that they have leveraged, that the president wants them to authorize tens of billions of aid to Ukraine. Can't read anymore. But here, the share of Americans who call it a crisis has shot up from 38% last May to 45% just currently. Please get it together. You guys, thank you for hanging out with me for this hour. Tomorrow night, we are going to be live again. Saturday night is live. We'll have panel guests, hopefully. We'll have some panels. I know some people who are some of our mods. I'm going to see if they want to come on. But yeah, this is that. This is where we are. So again, let's recap. We juxtapose the difference between what's going on in New York with those police officers and the people who got beat up by the police. Okay, so say, for example, those cats in New York felt like they were being accosted by the cops and they booped them back. We didn't see that happen in this case with the gal and the guy, but we do see that they were later released because they were guilty. The cops were guilty. And I believe one of them is out of commission. We also took a look at the drug situation that took place in California about a year or so ago, where a little over that, where they allowed them to be caught and then they released them. And then you see the two people saying, we didn't know anything about this. We came back to work over the weekend and these guys were already let out and we don't know why. And that was a lot. That was $750,000 worth of fentanyl on the streets. And these people were allowed to be released. The story that we saw, just to recap, showed you that they never showed up for court. And everybody's saying, wow. Oh my. Homer, they never got back to, none of them went back to court. Oh no. Yeah. You gonna come back? Yeah, I coming. You coming back? You sure? Yeah, I coming. So when we let you out today on OR, you're gonna come back to court and you're gonna come in here and you're gonna make sure that you let them know that you're guilty. Yes, I come back. You can trust me. And then they get upset and get shocked because they didn't show up. They didn't show up. The nerve. The nerve of those guys. We did them a solid and we let them go. Can you believe it? And they hot. Did you see them? That chick that was on the news. So they were hot. They were standing there, because they teach you to be very stoic. You don't have any emotion. Yes, and they didn't show back up to court. But they showed up, got my brother and them to come back to court. They actually came to my pawpaw's restaurant and got him. He was washing the dishes. But she's standing there stoic. Yes, and we're standing here outside of the courthouse because they're wondering where these people are that said they was going to come back and they didn't show up, and we don't understand why. We followed our orders. We did our part and let them out on their OR. Why haven't they done their part? This is, boy, sometimes I tell you, I feel like I have a conversation sometimes in my head with Bettina, because she would be like, this is a SA show. And she would mean it. Anyway, you guys, so we saw that. We saw how the girl got beat up. Then we saw that. And then we saw how everybody is homeless there in Portland, Maine. And then you saw how they've now given housing to them. So keep that in your mind when you hear these nutbags running around here saying, I don't know why everybody's upset with them because they ain't did nothing. You don't have to be upset with them, but you can deal with your congressman and let them know, dude, chick, you ain't going back up there to create a muck. I don't know if it'll work, though. You could also do like me and just leave them all alone and trust y'all. I want to let everybody know how much I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me for the last hour in this podcast. Please remember to treat yourself good because nobody else will. And for those who have sent Cash Apps, thank you. I appreciate you. I do prefer Cash App. I also prefer the things here on the YouTube. But the Cash Apps are easier because I can always put gas in the car with that immediately. So thank you all so very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for being here. We will be back tomorrow for Saturday Night is Live, and that is on the Lockhart Perspective. If you've not joined us over there, just go ahead and subscribe. It doesn't hurt. Also, we just put up a clip of something on the TLP Headlines with a Voice channel. TLP Headlines with a Voice. It's got about 520 or 510 subs. But there's a lot of stuff that I just put over there now. I'm trying to spread myself as thin as I possibly can. So some of you see me and some of you don't. But if you want to know where I am, TLP Headlines with a Voice or the Lockhart Perspective, right? So you can find me. You can find me. Just, use the mental Rolodex and you can find your girl. So you guys take care of yourselves, and then you can turn around and take care of somebody else. I want you to make sure you take care of number one. And then I want you to make sure that you take care of my friend. When I see you again, I'm going to ask you because my friend is you. You take care. Peace. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day.